We are Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM, good music, great friends. It's 10 minutes past 9 o'clock, the 22nd day of April 2023. We are online and on air on www.cruisefm.com/stream. My name is Wes Givanyaji, right here on Plot 12 Muti Lane. And I want to welcome each and every other person that is choosing to join us this morning. Catch us also on Cruise TV for the visuals, courtesy of Creative Digital Media. And it's been a very great week, I must say. Uganda joined the rest of the world to celebrate Eid al-Fitr, marking the end of the holy month of Ramadan. And Eid was yesterday. I hope every other Muslim that was took time to fast that holy month. I want to congratulate you, and I pray that God is able to meet all your prayers. But also, keep the good habits that you developed during Ramadan. The kindness, the giving should not stop. And definitely, we shall be waiting for another month of Ramadan. But other than that, it was a good time yesterday. And in the other news, State Minister for Karamoja, Agnes Nandutu, was remanded to Luzira for definitely the Mabati saga. It's still on, but there are also allegations that she tried to escape from prison, though it's still grapevine, I must say. It hasn't been substantiated. Now, State Minister for Planning and Intenjeru North MP Amos Lugolobi was granted bail, and in the same vein, other ministers were able to return the iron sheets back to the stores in Mnamavo of the office of the Prime Minister. The body of fallen Permanent Secretary and former PSST Keith Mhakanizi is slated to arrive from Milan today morning at 10 o'clock, where he passed away to bone cancer. Now, the judiciary also and the rest of the world mourned the passing of the retired High Court Judge Masalu Musene, and we in the fraternity, we definitely commiserate with the family and our condolences, and we thank Justice Masalu Musene for the good job that he did in the High Court. Definitely his mark will never be forgotten. President Museveni agreed with the NRM party members of parliament not to sign the Anti-Homosexuality Bill 2023 into law, but sent it back to Parliament for improvements to be made in that particular law. In Sudan, there is a war going on, and Sudanese Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan dismissed any prospects for negotiations with the Rapid Support Forces under the command of General Muhammad Mahdan Daglo in that particular war. Ugandans, about 300 Ugandans are held up there in Khartoum, and we only pray for safety. Now, Ugandans went on their social media platforms to highlight the state of roads in Kampala, which is not unique for the capital, but definitely all other major cities across the country, Uganda, Mbara inclusive. The president directed the Minister of Finance to convert 6 billion shillings to fix the potholes in Kampala. Definitely, here we had demonstrations in Koranoria about the state of roads. So, our question on our social media platforms on Twitter and Facebook, I have put a question on what you think about this. As Ugandans go ahead to take pictures of different, public good, hospitals, roads, name it, and schools, and government reacting, because last night by close of business, I think the PSST was able to announce that they had released about 60 billion shillings to KCCA to fix those roads. It's not any different here in Mbara and the rest of Uganda. The roads are not very good, but Ugandans taking the bull by the horns to take pictures and calling for the attention of government. It looks like it has worked. This is what we shall be talking about this morning. To help me discuss this and much more is Musat Kwatanese, a member of the National Resistance Movement with a big affiliation to the Mhozi Project and team chairman MK Movement. Council Bwenje Deus did it is with me this morning, and I'm honored to have him. And my very good friend Bruce Wakunda, who is a political analyst. Let me allow them to say hello before we get into it. Welcome, Musat Kwatanese, and good morning.
Thank you, my brother, and good morning to my comrades here in the studio and to our dear listeners. And congratulations to our brothers and sisters in the Muslim community for accomplishing the Ramadan successfully. And I wish you well in the new time now we have begun. And I also congratulate the Christian community because from that time of Easter, I had not come back here. I congratulate them also from accomplishing the Lent period and also enjoying Easter season successfully. And now I think it's now time to focus on how we can shape our country into what we want. Thank you.
Welcome back from Kabade. Give us a brief. How far with celebrating the 48 years, I bet now almost 49 years of Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the first son.
Thank you so much, my brother Banyaji. When we look at the Kabale, majorly we were not celebrating the 49 years, but we are celebrating the border reopening because according to the speeches, the border of Uganda, Rwanda was closed for almost 3 years, which had failed even 4 presidents. The president of Angola, the president of South Africa, president of Rwanda, president of Southern Sudan, all of them had entered into negotiations with the 2 presidents of Uganda and Rwanda to open the border, but they failed. So when this peacemaker, the national and international unifier, General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, entered into the matter, he tried and linked the two, and at the end of the day, the negotiations went successfully, and the 2 presidents agreed to open the border. That's why people of Rwanda, people of Uganda, and people of East Africa and Africa found it worthy to gather in Kabare and celebrate for this peacemaker who negotiated for the reopening of Uganda-Rwanda border. And currently, as reports from the Bank of Uganda, it is indicated that every week, Bank of Uganda is able to accumulate $1 million from the Uganda border. So it means as a country we are earning a lot from the border, and its closure had affected us economically. So we can't fail to celebrate such a hero. And thank you, Team Chairman MK Project, led by Chairman Toyota Michael Kaguta, for mobilization.
Thank you, Mossad Quarter. Let's welcome Council Wenje Those did it. Good morning, sir.
I'm fine. How are you?
Yes, how was your week?
It was good. I had a baby in the middle of the week, I think 2 days ago.
Oh, that's good. Congratulations.
And I want to say, hi to her and the mother as well. Of course, I have listened to the submission of my friend here.
That was his opening remark. You'll have your opinion on it.
Submission,
yes.
Anyway. But it is so unfortunate and incomprehensible that the commander-in-chief and the CDF and the entire UPDF are just watching as a serving military officer in the names of MK is campaigning, is actually canvassing for political support, which in the army, under the UPDF Act and under the Constitution, is illegal. I therefore call upon the CIC and the CDF to arrest him with immediate effect. Because he's violating the provisions of our laws. Because if there's anybody who should respect and obey the laws, it should be those who make them, of which he is part. They arrest him and arraign him before the General Court Martial to answer the charges against him, if any. And then I also wish to extend my condolences to the people of the Sudan who have of course, war is something that we should never support unless the worst comes to the worst. But I hope that the 2 generals are going to have some consensus and goodwill, and they come to their senses and realize that actually the victims of the war are not the soldiers, but they are the common wananchi. And the war must stop with immediate effect.
Okay, thank you so much. Welcome, Council Wenje Those did it.
A pleasure is mine.
All right. Bruce Owakunda, welcome to the Big Seat. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Wesige. Good morning to the listeners. I'm delighted to be back on the Big Seat. Thank you.
All right. When we're stopping for a break, when we come back, we shall start with what happened in the caucus. The president pushed back that bill back to parliament. We shall be talking about it because we know the last time we were talking about the anti-homosexuality bill 2023, we had Councillor Bwenjo here, and he did a good job. And we want to know how he feels about the fact that parliament passed the bill, but later on the president has said first review certain aspects about the bill before I assent to it. After the break on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM, great music, great friends. My name is Wesley Banyaji. Good morning.
It's tough, it's bold, it's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM.
G right here on plot 12, Muti Lane, Bomber Hill, opposite Intari School. That's where we at. But you can also catch us online on www.cruisefm.com/stream and on all our social media platforms. 912 Cruise FM on Twitter, 91.2 Cruise FM on Facebook and Instagram. And we are definitely Cruise TV for TikTok and YouTube. That's proudly brought to you by Creative Digital Media. The gentlemen are doing a very good job. The visuals are crystal clear on Cruise TV. You'll be able to catch the entire show. You'll be able to see Deus Did It and Musat Kwatanese and Bruce Wakunda, who are with me this morning. But very sadly, we're supposed to have a fourth guest, who is the Mbara District Resident Commissioner, Mr. Imekatera. Unfortunately, he lost his mother last night. Very, very sad news. Condolences to the family of Imekatera there. And Barrio definitely is in Rukunjuri tomorrow. We really send our condolences. And he's an ardent big sitter here. We have surely missed him. Now, before we go into any other topic of discussion, let's start with what happened in the NRM caucus. We know the president summoned the NRM caucus as chairperson with the National Resistance Movement, and they sat at Kololo where they talked about the anti-homosexuality bill. We know that the Deputy Attorney General had written a letter to His Excellency the President advising him not to assent to the bill because of a few issues that he felt were in contravention of first the Constitution, but also that there are other laws that could be able to take care of the interests of Parliament as far as the anti-homosexuality bill is concerned. Definitely with me in studio is Musat Kwatanese, Bwenje Deus Did It, who is a lawyer, and Bruce Wakunda. Let me give it to Bruce, Bwenje. We were here and talking about the bill. You definitely protested and you were against the bill, and you thought there are other provisions in the law that would definitely protect what the bill was trying to protect. Unnatural sex was already provided for in our penal code. There was no need of a new bill. And now the president has not yet assented to the bill because he feels there are certain things that must be changed. Among those is the element of if you a landlord and you have property and people come and rent your property and do these activities, you could be liable for either promoting homosexuality or abetting it, if I may choose that. And lawyers who definitely advise clients who are homosexuals, quote unquote, they could be liable for the same. Now the president says, no, wait a minute, let's try to review some of these elements in the bill before I assent to it. What do you read of this?
Thank you so much. Now, I don't want to preempt the president because he's seemingly vague in his statements. I think for the first time, we are seeing a person who went to the bush and won a war, a protracted struggle for 5 years, is being indecisive. I don't want to say that he's afraid of assenting to the bill because I've not heard the nature and substance of his recommendations and the reservations he has. However, I'm aware that he has said that he's returning it to Parliament to strengthen it. But now the verb strengthen, I think, is being misused. Actually, it may be to weaken it because of the pressure from the donors. So we should not be too ambitious to expect him to be returning the bill in good faith, because there's no doubt that under the Constitution, under Article 91, he has the power to return the bill to Parliament. Because when Parliament passes a bill, it can either the president can either assent to it, he or she can either refuse to assent to it, or he returns it to the Parliament of Uganda. And the Constitution is not very straightforward. It does not stop him from making any consultations in regard to how he forms his decision to return a bill to Parliament. So Of course, I'm alive to the concerns of why he should engage the NRM caucus to inform him of a decision that actually he should be taking as an individual. Because ideally, we might think that when Parliament passed the bill, it became functus official. It had nothing else to do. So it was either him personally to make the decision whether to refuse to assent to it, or to assent to it, or to return it. However, of course, as I've said, the Constitution is silent on whether he can consult the Attorney General or the Parliament, or even a section of Parliament.
But the Constitution is clear on the duties of the Attorney General, one of which is to advise government, institutions of government, and His Excellency the President.
Yes. Now, what is the legal status of the advice of the Attorney General? The office of the Attorney General is established under Article 119 of the Constitution. And the principal duty of the Attorney General is to be the principal advisor on legal matters to the government. Now, the government includes the executive, which is headed by the president. It also includes the parliament and the judiciary. That's government. Although the Attorney General is the first minister of government, actually, the two most important officers of the executive are the president and the AG. Now, the advice of the Attorney General is not 100% binding, but the Supreme Court has guided that the advice of the Attorney General must be given the utmost consideration. If you are going to depart from it, you must have reasons. In other words, you depart from it at your own risk.
Peril.
That was in the case of the Honorable Theodore Sechkubo and 4 others versus the Attorney General and 4 others. This is, of course, it was a constitutional appeal. Okay, we usually refer to it as the rebel MP's case. The Supreme Court stated that the advice of the Attorney General is so important. What actually, if government engages in a contract without the consent or the knowledge of the Attorney General, that contract is null and void. So, of course.
So, in your opinion, you think the president should consider the advice of the Attorney General with a heavy pinch of salt?
Now, of course, I'm aware that the president's hands are tied because he has to do a balancing act. He has to balance the support of the ministers and MPs, and of course the people of Uganda, who overwhelmingly supported the legislation. However, also he must be mindful of the economic status of our country. We're actually not even a developing state. We are a very poor third world country with no prospects at all of becoming a member of the first world.
Okay, thank you so much.
So I request the president to abide by the advice of the Attorney General. However, the Attorney General is appearing to exercise double standards, because when the bill was passed by Parliament, he was there and he never said a word. So I think he's being so unsincere. What he wants to say now, he should have said it then. But of course, as I've said, there's nothing wrong with the president engaging the members of the NRM caucus to form his mind about whether to assent to or not.
Okay, thank you, Bwenje. Let me bring in Bruce Owakonde. This looks to be a hot ball. It's like Bwenje has said, calling for a balancing act. We know that we have a lot of budget support from the West, and they're very categorical. PEPFAR and so many projects that are run by governments are fully funded by US aid, UK aid, name it. And they are saying we shall withdraw this aid the moment you assent to this bill. And the president is aware. He knows how much money that streams in from the West. But he has a 45 million group of people that are saying this is not Uganda. This is the bill is spot on. The homosexuality is not Ugandan. It's uncouth. It's unacceptable. It's disgusting, like the way he said. And now he has to think of who to please. What do you read of this?
Well, thank you, Wesige. For me, I believe the president is going to assent to this bill, but and I'm not an expert on legal issues like Council Wenje, so I'm going to weigh in using my basic knowledge. Let's remember that this is not the first time that this bill is coming up. This is the second time in, I think, 9 years. The first time it was passed by Parliament, court knocked it out on technicalities, I think on issues of quorum. Not so?
Yes.
This bill, the way it was passed, Parliament was like a nursery school.
Exactly.
It was like a mob. And Parliament accepted to be overrun by emotions. They were impulsive in nature as they passed the bill. And you could see some clauses were ill-conceived. And the president sending it back was bound to happen. For example, I remember the most ridiculous one was about that the media or journalists or publishers who publish content that advocates for gay rights are supposed to get some punishment. I don't remember, but it was very ridiculous. So now that the Attorney General has advised the president, he's saying, look here, let's send the bill back to Parliament and make some improvements. And the president said he's willing to assent to it as long as they can do those improvements. But again, the president finds himself in a very hard position. He's very well aware that we are dependent on donor aid and money. And we need the money because we cannot internally generate the money to take care of ourselves. And like you've clearly put it, he also faces 45 million people. And you see homosexuality, why you see it is this controversial. It touches the core values and the culture of us as Africans, not just as Ugandans. That's why you see MPs also allow emotions to override their senses of judgment. So, me, I'm waiting now that the Attorney General has advised the caucus sat and resolved to send back the bill. Let's see how Parliament goes about it and wait for the president. I trust him. He knows what to do. He knows how to play his politics. And he's going to make the right decision. For me, I have no shadow of doubt.
His Excellency, the president, was talking about the neo-colonialists, referring to the West as far as the anti-homosexuality bill is concerned. What would be so hard for the president to simply put Uganda first, assent to the bill? This is what the representatives of the people feel it fit. If they think they are threatened, the people are threatened, the culture of the Ugandans are threatened, why not just assent to the bill without going through what the West will think?
No, Westgate is like when you have a job here, you have your boss. Sometimes you'll have a bad day at office. You'll come here, your boss will scold you, he will demean you. But if you have no other source of income that can sustain yourself, sometimes you have to strike that delicate balance to see how to remain on your job and also deal with your boss. The president knows this very well, and we all know this. How our economy is doing, how much domestic revenue we raise, how much we fund our budget, the percentage we have that we fund the budget domestically. So he's very well aware. Because if you can even see the debt burden we have, and the ratio of domestic borrowing and international borrowing, it tells you that we have loans. That means we have stringent conditions to repay those loans, most especially if he assents this bill. But the president has all this information. For me, I'm telling you, I trust him. He's going to take the best decision. If he has said, you go back to Parliament, work on this bill, improve it, remove the ridiculous clauses and stuff, and bring it back to me, And you see, the president has been preaching about this even this time in caucus. He was very clear and bold, talking about neo-colonialism, how Europe and other want to impose their cultures on us. And he said it is unacceptable. So me, I'm waiting on the president, and I trust him is going to assent to this bill if they can polish it.
Okay, let's stop for a very short breather. When we come back, Bwenje, if you have something to say, I'll give you the opportunity, and definitely Musat Kwatan. So on the big side, good morning.
It's tough.
Here in Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Good music, great friends. My name is Wesley Banyaji, and I want to welcome you so much for those that are just tuning in. But those that have started up from 9, thank you so much. Catch us online on www.cruisefm.com/stream, and definitely all our social media platforms. Very clear. 912 Cruise FM on Twitter, 91.2 Cruise FM on Facebook and Instagram. And Cruise TV, we are streaming live. We're broadcasting there. So you can be able to go YouTube, just type in Cruise TV. You'll be able to see the big sets. With me in studio is Musat Kwatan, the same member of the National Resistance Movement, but the spokesperson of the team chairman MK movement here in the West. We know they were in Kabale and we saw the numbers. I have Council Wenje Deus did it, who is a lawyer here, and political analyst Bruce Wakunda. And I will still remind you, we were supposed to have the RDC from Barra District, Mekatera. Unfortunately, he lost his mother. Condolences there. Let me come to perhaps Bwenje, give us some information, then I go to Musa.
I've noted that my brother Wakunda has said that Parliament passed the bill in a
hasty way,
actually haphazard manner. Of course, I support him 100% because I remember the Honorable Tim Barbara Cecilia Ogwar saying, "See, you have to assume you are a mother. What if it was your own child?" Now, how about those MPs who are not mothers or fathers, who do not have children? See, when you go to debate in Parliament, you are not going there as a father, as a mother. You are going there as a person who is 18 or above. You are a citizen of Uganda. So you should legislate on behalf of people, those who are barren or impotent or productive. So I think maybe they are too excited, and I presume that if the president returns it, then they will fear to even to pass it the second time, because they will note that there are some things which the president is trying to drag his feet about. And of course, we do not have the opinion of the president as of now.
No, but
Whether-
it's we know his statements. He said at first he has had international interviews where he has said homosexuality is
The-
disgusting.
the norm is-
it's ridiculous and unacceptable.
is-
Then he shifted to let me wait on the medics to say whether it's by nature or nature.
And they told him that homosexuals can be born
Yes.
the way they are. Actually, that is why he's proposing rehabilitation. But to rehabilitate what? So you see, you rehabilitate a person who either has a disorder or maybe has an ailment, but a homosexual is not a disordered person. She or he does not need orientation or even reorientation or even rehabilitation. And I want to assure all the members of the LGBTQA++ community there that we have Museveni in the corner. We have him where we want him to be. He's so confused right now. He's asking for external help from the MPs, but the MPs also have no idea of what step should come next. So we hope that sanity is going to prevail, and neither him nor the MPs are going to say yes to that bill, because
Okay.
that bill has no place in any democratic society like ours.
Okay, thank you. Musa Twatanse, the NRM caucus sat, and definitely on top of the agenda was the anti-homosexuality bill. In the wisdom of the president, he thinks the particular sections of the law that should be amended, or to think of just reviewed and come up in a better way. Where you sit, don't you think that this is a bill that we needed yesterday to protect the children, or even our culture and what we believe in, to be unnatural and not for us as
There's
Ugandans?
something else.
Thank you.
Just-
Thank
Yes,
you so
yes.
much, my
Please.
brother.
Just 1 second. Let us not forget that his chairman once said, that is MK, once said that Uganda can exist without the support of the donors.
Yeah, it's on record. He
Yes.
said it. Yes.
So let's try to juxtapose that against the anti-homosexuality bill, because actually right now we don't even have his opinion on that.
Okay.
Thank you so much. First of all, with the beautiful ladies, handsome men in Uganda, to hear that a man sleeps with a man and to hear that a woman sleeps with a woman. So, as a MK movement, our position is say not homosexuality. Rather, yes, say not homosexuality. And I want also to say that though we are saying not homosexuality, as leaders, we can't make decisions because of excitement or annoyance. Because in most cases, whoever has always decided because of excitement or annoyance has always lived in the world of regrets. And at such a particular moment, it is not healthy for a country, for our legislators to sit hurriedly and make decisions. Legal scholars will guide and have always guided and are continuing to guide. But this anti-homosexuality bill needed deep thinking, because if you looked at the way it was passed in a hurried manner, the comrades here can attest to this. You saw the speaker saying that this is now the time, you people who are outside there, to see your representative. This is the time to see their position. This is the time to see the homosexuals. It means you have already intimidated the legislators. Meaning even one who wanted to give the opinion will fear, because already the speaker has already given the position of the house, which is very dangerous in legislation, because you legislate a matter to bring it on board, discuss and find the best way it can be implemented, because the law you are making will not only be inflicted on you but the people you represent. So I find it worth for His Excellency the President to scrutinize this bill and say let it return back at Parliament, because we remember very well that in 2009 Honorable Bahati introduced the same bill in the House. Then in 2013 Parliament passed it and President assented to it. And what happened in 2014 is that the legal scholars challenged the law, the bill. Actually, by then it was a law, and challenged it, and it was annulled. So it is not healthy to again such a thing happen. That the parliament has sat again, passed the anti-homosexuality bill, president has assented to it, then legal scholars now go and revise the constitution, go and revise the penal code act like COP 120, and find that the bill already contradicts with the penal code act, or the bill already contradicts with the constitution, and they null it. So I think it is healthy for the president to give a correct guidance that let the bill first go back to parliament. Yes, we are all saying we don't want homosexuals in the country, but our position should not be that we rush to make decisions that at the end of the day will make, sometimes you can make a law, the council can guide. There are some laws that are irrelevant. You find this law is already there. Instead of implementing what is there, you are making another law, and the process of making another law consumes Ugandans' tax money. So why can't you implement the already existing law? What is the Penal Code Act, COP 120, saying? Are you implementing it? What is the Constitution saying about homosexuals? Are you implementing it? So I think that's what we should look at. Actually, I think that's what I expected from our honorables, to stand and say, according to this, this lacks this, and we are strengthening it. But all of them were just bringing things because of excitement.
But definitely there is some kind of mischief in the law that the bill was trying to cure.
To chip in a bit about parliament, I think we have an oversized parliament. It is bloated. You can imagine each member of parliament is given 1 or 2 minutes to submit. What really can you submit that is that fundamental in 1 or 2 minutes? And such a big parliament is a burden on the taxpayer. And having a big parliament doesn't translate into better legislative participation or later performance of parliament. And the late Jacob Bolanya had a very good initiative, and in his manifesto he was very strong on it. He was proposing that they should introduce structured debates. They can be a little bit more efficient and moderated. But you can imagine over 500 people. It is like a nursery school. Point of order. Somebody has spoken for 30 minutes. Point of order. Now such a bill. What can you contribute in 1 minute? Yes, that's why they should downsize parliament. They should organize it.
But who is going to initiate the debate of...
Now Mekabashar had actually made that proposal, but it was very unpopular.
But you see, you cannot legislate against yourself, because...
Let me propose.
Yes.
You see, the vast number of members of parliament are products of constituencies which have been created for the benefit of President Museveni. You see, one local council, one in Kampala, might even be as big as one constituency in Mitoma, Ruhama.
Gerrymandering.
Exactly. So they districtize Uganda into very small pieces for political support. Because Museveni knows, even if he splits Kampala into 1,000 streets, the support is not there. So he's forced to split Uganda into very tiny biscuits, for purposes of political support. And so I don't think the problem is with the number of MPs.
But let's not be blinded.
Yeah.
The truth is, there are a couple of bills that go through this house.
Yes.
You see?
Yes.
It's not that they pass 2 or 10 bills. Yes. They pass quite a number of bills. Why is it not very controversial for other bills?
Actually, I want to warn the members of the opposition. They are so happy. But this same bill is going to be used against them as the Public Order Management Act was. So they should celebrate, but they should take 2 feet forward and 1 backwards, because the consequences for them, specifically for them, are dire. And I want to inform him that he's using the vast number of MPs as a scapegoat, because when it was being passed, he never came out and said, no, this is wrong.
Who?
Him.
Bruce Wakunda.
Yes, I follow him. I follow him. So
The microphone was mine.
this is just an afterthought.
Yes.
The microphone was mine.
Yes.
Now you look at the anti-homosexuality bill. Let's make a flashback to bills that have been formulated by this 11th Parliament. Look at the Computer Misuse Act.
Exactly.
It was formulated, assented. But when you look at its composition, it says, Mr. Banyaji, for me to post to you, I must seek permission from you. But how many have done so? And now, as of now, that law is already irrelevant. Because it's there, it's not, only it will be implied, it will be applied when I feel I want Banyaji.
When it's a witch hunt.
Sort of that, the law is there, just redundant. And that is the dangerous point when a country makes very many redundant laws. Because at the end of the day, those laws may turn against the very country. So that's why I support that the bill should first go back to Parliament for review.
You look like
what
Musa Kwatanise is having his cake and eating it. He says he's against homosexuality, but he's against the bill.
And two, what I want to say, Mr. Banyaji.
Yes.
You see this sexuality and whether homosexual or the homosexual or heterosexual. You can't just identify who is a homosexual, who is a heterosexual, because sex is private. Do I know where you slept last night and whom you slept with, and how will I identify you? Do I know where these people slept and whom they slept with?
Yes.
So you see, that is what I expected a honorable member to stand and raise such a point, that before we make this law, how shall we identify these homosexuals? By which means? Does the law indicate how they will identify the homosexuals? No, but the penalties are there. So where will you apply the penalties? So definitely, I think that's what the honorable members must look into. The bill has come back at Parliament. That's what they must look into. Homosexual or heterosexual, it's hard to identify. So which strategies will be put in place to identify so and so is a homosexual? And of course, because for you to sue someone for life imprisonment, as the law says,
in fact, it says death, which is against yes.
So when you look at that, it means that for you to put someone on that, you must have evidence beyond human
beyond reasonable doubt.
And reasonable doubt. So which strategies are there to trace that evidence? Is it captured in the law? So that's why I think the president is right to return the bill.
Let's stop for a break.
Thank you. Let me say something.
Yes.
You see, under the bill,
very quickly.
a homosexual is defined as a person who engages in a sexual act. So unless you engage in a homosexual act, you are not a homosexual. So we can kiss, flat and so forth. That is not homosexuality. And also the bill defines only a male person. It does not define a female person. So it's a little bit discriminatory.
Let's meet in our second hour for the next topic of discussion. Keep it locked on Western Ghana's biggest radio station. My name is Wesley Banyaji.
It's tough, it's bold.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
We are definitely back 2 minutes past 10 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM. Good music, great friends. My name is Wes Gabanyaji. I just got a call from Peter Mpaka, who is a member of the National Unity Platform. He's saying that when Jedos did it, your opinion is not the position of the party. I don't know why he had to say that on what you thought about the anti-homosexuality bill. He says it should be put on record for the listener that Bwenje's personal opinion on homosexuality is not the official position of NUP as a party. On this, we expected President Museveni to sign the bill. But thank you so much, Peter Mpaka, for giving us that information. And I see Muhire, Dennis, you're listening again from Bukanga. I see Nzuro, thank you very much. Dennis Cam for listening again. To our next topic of discussion right now, and we've concluded on that matter. But Uganda was awash with photos of potholes in the capital city of Uganda, Kampala, where the tweeps went ahead to post the different roads in the city. But that's not an isolated case for Kampala. Even here in Mbarara, we know of roads that have taken ages to be completed. And it's been the pain of the residents of this city. Just the other day, about 2 days ago, the people in Koranoria demonstrated against an impassable road. And the people that initiated this particular project, Dr. Spire, have said they will go on to hospitals, schools, and all public facilities to expose the poor service delivery of government. And we are asking, do you think this method that the citizens are using will call for effective service delivery from government? Let me start with Bruce Wakonda. Well, I think this is the best way that Ugandans have gotten to use social media. I followed up the pictures of the different roads in the city. I said, are people in Barra such cowards that they cannot join the wagon and expose of what has failed in this city? Do you think this is the way to go, where Ugandans take matters in their own hands? They don't talk about it alone, but also provide evidence of how bad the situation is. We saw the president, while addressing caucus, went and said KCCA, he directed Minister of Finance, and we saw how fast the permanent secretary and secretary to Treasury was on saying we've released about 60 billion to KCCA, which they say is simply a drop in the ocean, but still good enough. We saw how fast government was able to move to make sure that things work. And if Ugandans keep doing this, we go and expose the ills of how the different players in the opposition are treated because we know in Buvuma, the islands, the district woman member of parliament was literally beaten to pulp for holding, a project with women and things. We saw what happened. Now Ugandans are going to document all that. Will that help in improving service delivery? Bruce?
Westguy was very elated about this development, and I kept following it very closely. And the funny bit about Ugandans, they started making memes, and it got entertaining. But in developed countries, people embraced technology and social media, and they use it to raise social consciousness, for advocacy, for recruiting political activists. You see in countries like the US, people run image-driven political campaigns. But this is basically citizen journalism. And the only challenge with this kind of arrangement is that, unlike traditional media like print and broadcast, where you have gatekeepers like editors, where you have editorial policies, somebody can easily take a picture of a pothole in Kenya and say this is Uganda. But I was happy about it. But the biggest worry, and Westgate is very disturbing. I read that in December last year, Kampala had about 8,500 square meters of potholes spread in the 5 divisions. And I was wondering, I think we need a comprehensive investigation, maybe by you investigative journalists or any other agency, to understand fully how our road infrastructure in the city got to this level, because this is unbelievable. And this is not just in Kampala. Move across the country, roads are impassable. It is surely getting out of hand. And unfortunately, I saw the road mayor saying that the contractors are on strike, that they have not yet received 2.6 billion that they have to be paid. So there is no fuel for tractors. Total Energies, the suppliers are on strike. Again, the president directed that 6 billion be released. And I saw Doris Ichsaka on NTV saying that they need about 70 to 100 billion annually to fix roads. And we must understand that we have cases here that has the mandate to do this. We have the central government. How can a whole capital city, also about 60% of our GDP is produced in Kampala. And Kampala alone contributes to almost 68% to 70% of the total taxes. So how can a whole city have roads in such a state? Who is supposed to play the oversight role?
But Bruce Wakunda, who is a card-bearing member of the National Resistance Movement, when Ugandans are saying let's overhaul the system, you said wait a minute, no. Let's keep Kumain, let's keep with President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni because we feel he's the best candidate and he's doing a good job. You're the same people who are crying about service delivery when things fail to work.
Of course, every government has its challenges. We cannot deliver 100%, but we are saying, look here, you have done something, but here you've got it wrong. Please go and rectify this. Because how can our road infrastructure reach that same level when we have people with the mandate to address it, when we have people who are supposed to play the oversight?
Do we have the money?
We can get the money. It's just because we don't set our priorities right. You think we don't have money to fix roads in Kampala? You believe that?
Perhaps there is no money because we have to deploy in the Congo.
So did it have to first get to the exhibition of potholes for the president to direct that the 6 billion be released? We can't be this reluctant. We can't be this complacent at all. That people must first be in arms. People must first protest. That things must get done. I think government and President Museveni should at least, I don't know, many people need to be fired around there. Those that should be disappointed because this is unbelievable. You could look at a pothole and it wasn't fun at all. I saw a meme where somebody said he was from fishing with a big whale that he had found it in a pothole. Imagine potholes in Upper Kororo, in Bugorobi. Maybe we should start a pothole tourism. People come and see these potholes that people are fishing whales from. Because what on earth is this? So, me, I'm very happy. This is a good method. No tear gas, no disruption of business, just peaceful engagement. And the people are very serious.
Perhaps before I move to the rest of the team here, on the next move for perhaps the medical practitioners, the consumers of public good in hospitals and health centers, when we see this, because we are going to see a situation where pictures are going to come of mothers sleeping on the ground after giving birth or prior to giving birth. We are going to see theaters that are dilapidated. We are going to see children writing on the ground, and it's going to be disheartening. Won't this create some kind of a fix and an embarrassment? Because we heard from the National Guidance Minister saying people that are behind this initiative, we shall use the Computer Misuse Act to call you to order. Don't you think government will need to curtail some of these initiatives because it may, in the end, congest or create unnecessary fixes in government?
It doesn't matter even if it gives us negative PR, but we get what we want. And you see, these campaigns are not about to stop. I saw Spire saying that they have started to balance a campaign. Now people shall be taking pictures of schools in dilapidated states. They are going to take pictures of hospitals. And Westguy, remember the last time we were here, you were complaining about road carnage, road accidents. This is part of the problem. These road user costs, frequent visits to garages. People are spending a lot of money. Then the second is traffic. We are losing a lot of time of workmanship in traffic. You can imagine somebody to walk to drive from Bugorobi to the city center. You can almost take 3 hours. We are losing a lot of time of workmanship. So I think this is an urgent issue. It is a pressing issue. The government should take it seriously. They should not take, and we pay taxes, for God's sake. How can we pay taxes, all these taxes, and we have a city in such a shape?
Bring it closer. I work from Victor Wana here in Makansing, and that road has literally created a menace. We literally can't earn a living because our customers cannot come down. The road is taking ages to be completed.
Yes.
I have interests in Koranoria. The road is impassable. Everything is horrible.
People cannot commute. And last weekend, I was listening to the program on this station.
Yes.
And I was shocked to learn that the most expensive road in the world is being built in Mbarara by Multiplex. I couldn't believe it.
Yes.
The most expensive road in the world. And the speaker of the district said, you see, it was poorly negotiated. We cannot get out of it. What the hell are such people doing in this country? Why can't they be taken to prison or something radical is done about it?
Okay. Let me bring in Bwenje here.
First make a battle about a comment by Mr. Peter Mpaka. Of course, I'm not a member of NUP. And I'm not being invited here as a member of NUP.
Absolutely.
Because under the constitution of
But
NUP,
you stood...
under the constitution of NUP,
yes.
If you stand or if you contest as an independent against the position of the party, you cease being a member. So upon my contest as a member of parliament from Mbara State North, I cease as an independent. I ceased being a member of NUP.
I think that's
and
clear.
From then I've
yes.
not renewed my membership.
Yes, to the topic of discussion.
Of course, corruption is the surname of Uganda. And as he was saying, if there's anybody who should be fired for the potholes, for the decay in public health and educational institutions, it should be that president. You see, per year, Uganda loses 20,000 billion to corruption. So where you see a pothole, where you see a mother giving birth in the compound of a medical facility owned by government, where you see a doctor telling a mother go and buy a pair of maybe
gloves or something.
Sheet, scissors. It is an indicator that government institutions have gone to the dogs. It is so appalling that Honorable Nandutu Rugorovi and Tutu have been in prison, but people like the vice president, people like the speaker, have not gone there yet. Because you see, whether you received the mabati and used them for your personal reasons or for community purposes,
what is the position of the law?
Same.
What is the position of the law? If an authority of government conveys property or resources of government to another authority of government, how is that? Because the offense is being in possession of suspected property or something.
Yes. So as long as it is stolen property, if you receive it,
but there was no theft, there was no asportation, because
you see the Speaker of Parliament, being high as she is, she ought to know the source of everything that she is. The iron sheets and so forth. She ought to have known that the source was a bad one. And when I see her out, it is actually a very bad indicator of the strength of our of the office of the DPP, because by now she should be either in prison.
Yes.
Yes, you can ask.
Yes, Bwenje, now Ugandans have taken it to social media. Perhaps that was Mabati that Ugandans could not be able to preempt. But now what they can be able to visibly see that has failed, they're documenting it, and we are seeing government acting.
That's good. Of course, as he said, that maybe the potholes are from Kenya. No, they are from here. They are from here.
Thank you, Bwenje. Let me bring in Musa.
Yeah.
Musa, service delivery under the National Resistance Movement government. Now we see Ugandans being fed up and saying we cannot put up with all this nonsense that is happening. If you think it's a matter of talking and making a lot of noise on social media, let's show you. And they have gone ahead to show us and to show the entire world. These stories are running on multinational media houses. They are warning of going to other sectors of the economy. Do you think this will work out right?
Thank you so much, my brother. I gave myself a title of the political antidote to always remove the pain from people. We must appreciate that leadership is a chain, and leadership is like a water pipe. There must be a source, a pipe through which the water should move through, and a tap where people will tap from. So when we look at the kind of leaders we have in Uganda, even if the president is the best, like how, we will continue having challenges. One of the reasons I am saying such is because you recently saw the Lord Mayor of Kampala standing before all TVs because he wants to please the electorates, because he's in opposition. He stands before the public and says, I, Elias Lukwago, has never met genocide, and I will never meet him. Has never met the president, and I don't have reasons to meet the president. But he is the Lord Mayor of the capital city of Uganda, and the president is the head of executive of this country. Actually, he's the final man in terms of all the budgets will be planned and what, but he's the final man to sign and assent to every other document that must work in the country. But this Lord Mayor, whom the people that sent him expect services from him, but he's saying, I don't have time to meet the person, the source of service delivery. So you see, even if that means that even if the top is the best, like how, people down will not receive services because in between they put a hole. So services will come, find a hole, get off. And finally people down, that's why they get phones, take pics and start exposing that potholes, and blame government because they have been blindfolded. That please, it's the government that is the problem.
Is it Elias Lukwago? No. Or is it Kachebe's ear?
I am putting it.
Is it them that stop government from doing what the government is supposed to do?
It is what
there is a whole ministry of health. There is a whole ministry of works. Why are you holding it up to this gentleman? Is it the one that has diverted the allocation?
It is very clear, not it.
You see, it's very funny. You know, the Lord Mayor heads the political wing of the city, and you didn't expect him to play politics. That would be obvious. My concern is with the technical wing of KCCA, the ED, and then the central government.
Yes.
If the Lord Mayor is playing politics, trying to sabotage the projects, all he can do is speak. But he's not. Implementation is on the part of government.
Absolutely.
Dare I ask you a question? I think at this level we know how, when, and by which procedure is a service brought here. Are you aware that Mayor Kachebez here in Mbarara has the powers and the capacity to say leave Chamugorano Road and work on this road? Because he's a mayor and by the virtue of his position and
how is that possible?
It is possible.
Because there are budget allocations for particular.
It is possible.
For particular roads.
It is possible. And we have already seen it happen.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying
Yes.
that first of all, as our leaders, they need to first collaborate and work as a team. Especially when we come to service delivery, let politics be put aside. And people first focus on service delivery. Let people become answerable. The LC1 becomes answerable. Councillors become answerable. The LC3s. Then when we come at the level of mayors and chairman LC5s, they become. That's when the MPs will be tasked, even the president tasked. But let us not put the blame on one person.
When we come back to the lifeline of the show, the telephone calls and your feedback on our social media handles. Good morning.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The big seat.
We're back 25 minutes past 10 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Cruise FM, with music, with friends. My name is Westige Banyaji. The big city is on. And right now, we come back to the lifeline of the show, the telephone calls, and your feedback on our social media handles. 0752 912 912 and 0780 912 910. Those are the numbers to call. Call in right now and let us know of what you think of the new method by the citizens to simply highlight the ills of government or the failings of government using their social media platforms. Call us and let me get your feedback on Twitter or at 912 on Twitter and on Facebook 91.2. But also YouTube, we are there for Cruise TV. The question is already there, so you can give us that feedback. And Agaba Jonan, you're saying, of course, they have to fight for themselves, so the citizens are the right. As usual, you're tuning in from Kabingo in Nyakayajo. Legacy, you're saying, yeah, it's the best violence and demonstrations may cause damages to properties. Alan Bachinyens, are you saying, it wouldn't be the right method to developed countries because of the image rights. But it was very right here. If it wasn't right, it wouldn't have raised the concern of the president. I therefore urge us to even use the same platforms to fight corruption. To seeing Guide Oscar on Twitter, you're saying that is a great sign of a government that doesn't plan for on its own. Why would you have to wait for people to identify the failings? Thank you so much for that feedback. on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Cruise FM, good morning.
Yes, Mr. Banyaji.
Yes, good morning. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good morning. Ogun Dr. Andrew Naterachi Band.
Yes, Dr. Andrew.
I think when I kugamba habire Museveni benda kusayiningaho. You think kureba bwaki na tinabahanga amahanga gabazungu. Polisi iba mutiro yonka think kureba bwaki na atakwenda kwesaramu. So ninde mangu bamutiro polisi yamani konka abantu bamutiro polisi yamani think kureba musubure n'ingese byamaguze byamani bakwete mu Uganda. Icyo kurebera asinga China. Wazo mu Uganda China ibintu byo kubana disaplayinga. Buri kintu cyo kubata kutunda mu duka no made in China. Tinkareba hoga made in America obaranda nini samahanga gati. Tinkureba kwa China enda kwesiga ababa America mana na bashabo. Aine kusara mu cyenyini cy'abanyarwanda bari nibetaga. Ebintu kubenda munsi yitu.
Yebare mno.
Karese.
Right. The big set.
Banyaji.
Good morning.
Yebare kuhereza.
Yebare kusema bana.
And kasi mena batesa bari mu studio. Itogo nkabirije no gambona na Mwesa Rogers.
Yes, Mwesa Rogers.
Zargo ya migongo bugamba rwa mparani ya Sectorial gazete mbaramporchize. Azi mama ntwaza shongeze. Ndeba ngo citizens zibashire. Wanga washanga muturana yerwana okusinga empo uyateyira karungu amutware bitekateko mu parliament. Yoreba ngo hihi hanga itwahika. Buri yomaine kurwanira amagarage. Premier mu Uganda. For example, washanga umuzitizen narwanira kugwa oje ngabanya Uganda bine ko buzinani bigobo kubasa kugenda Kampala bakayira ibintu bakabireta kwekoreza. Kezi attract ababurizo kurwagire bazire batkorine ngite. Ngati ne bare mpa batagamba.
Thank you so much for that feedback. The big set.
Yeah, you're speaking to Commissioner Dalton.
Yes, Dalton.
So on that issue of like using the social media to post those things, I think as Ugandans, this is the only way that we are remaining with. Now, proposing that thing to like opposition side, whenever like those people try maybe making some demonstrations on streets and among other things like that, they are imprisoned severely. We know that in Uganda. So I think this is the right to use social media maybe to express those things. If we now take that option back to this thing that happened on the airport issues, the corruption and whatever, we see that they took an immediate effect because of everything the people did on the social media. So I think it could be the right proposal to use the media to express those things.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you for giving us what happened at the airport. It created the change that we saw at the airport. Ugandans are vigilant. Good morning. We just missed that call on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big set. Hello. Please, we didn't hear your name clearly.
Joe are calling in from Kasese.
Yes, Joe in Kasese.
I think the government is going to lose something, because if people doesn't post something on the social media, the government doesn't react. Good morning.
All right, thank you. The big set.
Hello?
Cruise FM, good morning.
Good morning, Wanyaji.
Yes, please. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is Ryan is the UG from Nyakayo.
Yes, Warren. Just lost you. The big set.
How are you doing, brother?
I'm well, thank you. How are you? Muhereza from Katibani.
I'm amazing. And as always, as you know, I love this station because of the good information that you really deliver to us.
Yes, please.
But anyway, you will give me a chance, and I say this in our local language.
Please go right ahead.
Because we have some old men and women that don't understand this language that we are going to use.
Okay.
Ati braga nyiki kwenda kugambira nyenda nkubero wa mazuma. We as Ugandans this is the only how way we can use. Ako tuga tukaja ngutugambe, our voice can't be heard. So for us gitaba kuba bine social medias, I think this is the real time kugira ngo tuzikozese. We tell our members of parliament ninga shaba abantu bitwatumire ibitabe kubani bitushasha, because when we want to raise our voices tubakwenda kuhura, tubakwenda kutombekera nguru, tubakwenda kutukorera marwaru, twagira ngo homosexuality Museveni nibenda kuri meeting kugira ngo atashayininga acinte cyakugira ngo nibandi bamuherezo buyaga kandi n'ikindi tinkureba ubuyambo bubo agamahanga bukohereza Uganda yitu. Actually, brother, we never even to cost a question as Ugandans because we have our minerals. We can depend on those things. Take a match in Chibi that can end our life. Good morning to you, brother. Good morning, Cruise.
Thank you so much, Mhedeza from Katibani Kamwenje there. We lost that on 752-912-912 1780912-910. Let your opinion be known. Call us and let us know of what you think. Let me go to our Facebook. Ivan Palbov UG on Facebook, you're saying thank you to the show. I think it was the right move by citizens. They didn't demonstrate on roads but behaved in a mature way. I think that's why the president gave it attention. I'm here, you're there in Kajogo, Mbarara. Mwebesa Rogers, you called in and you still sent a message, and you're listening in from City College Institute in Katete. You're saying, I think social media is playing a role of Ugandan leaders 100%, because all leaders are always driving in their cars so that they can't what's outside the cars. Robert Babiha, you're saying it is true, because the government can supply food in other countries forgetting the people, and you put a picture of a gentleman fishing in a pond. Greenwood Shaggy, you're listening in from Kazo, and you're saying, they say who says the bad thing is not the one who brings it. Now, to make the story short, the president is tired, and I now imagine getting the ministers, Mabati and everything. You're listening again, thank you. Muhimbise Alan, you're saying the method wouldn't be okay to developed countries because of the image. We read that. Orishaba Marcel, you're saying it is actually proper, because Ugandans can protest physically on roads. They always end up being in custody, so it's a right method. Enoch Armstrong Afande, you're saying if the center cannot hold the gravity, the body topples. So if the concerned ministry is asleep, let the responsible Ugandans take them up and listen again from Kasese. Waragaba Onesimus, you're listening again from Buhweju, and you're saying actually it is the time for us as citizens to call on government to provide services. You're saying Owakabi, Jonana Gava, that's their role to fight themselves, and you're listening again from Kabingo in Nyakayo. Buzare, Jacobs, I see you, and you're saying that method has a lot of things. Abdul Karim Isabor, you're saying the 6 billion is so small. Let me pick more of your calls before I get back to the panel on 752-912-912 1780912-910. Call in and let us know the big set. Yes, good morning.
Good morning to you, Mr. Wanyaji.
Yes, please.
It's me, Dixon Major from Kashaga, Mariantonde.
Yes, how is the Yantonde?
Yantonde is very cool.
Oh, that's good.
And the issue of roads, I think that is the only method bloggers can use in order to develop our country, because we cannot reach those MPs, tell them our...
You run short of the airtime, and certainly, unfortunately. But let me get back to studio here. Akunda, you've had the callers. They definitely approve of the method that was used by the citizens to call on government for service delivery. But I'm imagining things to do with corruption now. There are things that are invisible. You see, if it's visible, it's easy. We're talking about homosexuality, and we are saying, how can you fight homosexuality when people are having sexual relations in their privacy? And now, if at all money is stolen in a syndicate, documents that you cannot be able to ascertain and even get your hands laid on them, you are successful because you see these. How successful will you be where a lot of money is being swindled without you ever getting notice?
Anyway, Westgate it is tough like that. But we shall not relent as citizens. Everyone should do their duty. Now, on Monday, we are starting on health centers. For us, we shall bring it to light. We are going to Kubarabisa, as people are saying. Because what can we do? All we can do is raise our voices. Because we cannot implement. As a citizen, you can't go and say, fix a road, fix a hospital, or fix a school. What you have to do is, and by the way, these people are within their rights. They are protesting. People are dying in hospitals. They are dying from road accidents. And the government has a duty to take care of its citizens, to develop this country. And we are all stakeholders, by the way, not just the government. So it needs a collective responsibility. Everyone must play their part. Be it the executive, be it the legislature, be it the other arm of government, be it the citizens. We must raise now social consciousness. People must understand that they have the rights, they have the voices, and that they can really be heard. And Westga, when we talk about service delivery, I don't want us to be on air and create an impression that we have totally failed. Most times when we talk about service delivery, we cluster them in, we usually call them 3 A's. One is availability, another one is accessibility, another one is affordability. If you're saying service is education, are schools available? That's availability. If, well, schools are there, structures are they accessible? Or our children still have to walk 10 kilometers every day to commute? If that is done, then we talk about affordability. If schools are available, they can be accessed. Can they be afforded by these people? Same with electricity. If you say you want a service like electricity, is it available? Is it accessible? Is it affordable? Same with hospitals and these other things. So we are saying now, when you talk about roads, they are there.
But now Uganda would be bothered. You have members of parliament. You see? These people use these roads. President Museveni's motorcade does not fly. It uses the same roads. Don't they see? Are they blind to these ills? Or they think when the opposition says the service is horrible, there is no good service delivery in this country, they think it's just politicking. And perhaps that's also another conversation. Has politics taken over service delivery, where government, the executive, is more focused on one, how do we not allow disruption of our power and authority over government and the people of Uganda?
We must accept that we have different classes. The income inequality is something else. You've reminded me of one child of a minister. They asked him, where do they get milk? He said, from the supermarket. The child doesn't know that milk comes from a cow. So expect when we make noise about issues related to cows to understand. These people move around in big SUVs, these V8s and these big cars, and they don't have the pride for the people, for their people. And there is something fundamentally wrong with how we do our politics. That's where it all stems from. We are, and I don't blame voters, the electorate. We need much civic education. If you come as Bwenje Deus did it, and all you can do is get 2,000 and distribute it to the voters, and they will have to wait for you in the next 5 years, you see that is why there is a problem. People should scrutinize their manifestos. People should assess them
if they
on
even
issues of merit.
But now, how are they going to assess a member of parliament who does not build roads, who does not build hospitals, who does not, equip any of these facilities?
That's what I'm saying. We need civic education. The EC should invest in civic education.
But what is the role of councillors? Perhaps let's stop for a break. When I come back, Bwenje, I'll give you an opportunity to really put it out there. Good morning.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Cruise FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
we're on the final lap of the show. 15 minutes to the top of the hour on Western Uganda's biggest radio station. 91.2 Cruise FM, great music, great friends. My name is Wesige Banyaji. The people of Antonde, Isinjiro, Kamwenje, Kazo, Chiruhura, Tsoro, Kabare, wherever that you're listening from, we appreciate you very much. And those that are out of Uganda and you're streaming online on www.cruisefm.com/stream, we thank you so much. We know we have a couple of good listeners in the Emirates, but we have a group of very many Ugandans living in the Gulf, so we appreciate you very much. Those that are in South Africa, in Namibia, in Kenya, our neighbors, in Kigali, Rwanda, thank you so much. Let me see. Excuse me. Mugabe Mahad, kama you're watching from Kabare. Alexander Abireho, you're watching from Kigali, Rwanda. Ahimbisiwe Emma, you're watching from Makansinki. Bruno Yuji, I see you. Kakuru Lawrence, you're watching from Uganda. Alini Twe Evans, you're watching from Poland. And then Mujisha Collins, you're watching from Mukono. Thank you all so much that are on YouTube, Cruise TV, and you're enjoying the show. Let me pick a bit of more calls on 752912912 and 780912910 before I come back to the panel. Good morning. Hello,
Mr. Blood.
Yes, good morning.
This is Abias from Bueju.
Yes, Abias in Bueju.
I'm happy to talk to you. This is my first time to call on this program.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
All right. To the topic of discussion.
I think the President Museveni he should leave these things of the Western culture. He should come back to our cultures and leave those issues of the Western culture, because they are going to tarnish our name as Africans.
All right, thank you so much. The big seat. We lost you. Let me come.
Can I please conclude?
Yes.
My point was that we need inclusive voter programs and campaigns so that we can have informed electorate. So that a member of parliament cannot come from Kampala and say, I'm going to construct a road here. I'm going to put a hospital here. They should know that it is, maybe he can peddle influence or lobby. And again, it keeps beating my understanding. Off air, I was asking Wenje, one of the MPs who has never stopped on the maiden appearance in parliament. And it beats my understanding. Such people will come back, give us money.
Are you talking about Honorable Muhesi?
No. She also stopped on the maiden appearance. Yes. But we are talking one of the MPs here in Mbarara.
Yes. So, but don't be shy. These are our leaders, and they are supposed to be servants to us. So, yes, Robert Rukadi. Okay.
Because for me, you cannot convince me that you're up to the task when you don't speak.
Yes.
The member of parliament has three major roles. One is representation, another one is legislation, and another one is representation. But if you don't speak, oversight. Because if you don't speak in committees, you don't even speak on the floor of parliament, you even don't speak in the corridors, how are you representing us? How are you doing oversight? How are you doing representation or legislation? So you cannot come back and you say, I'm giving you 5,000, I'm giving you 10,000. That's why I think we should have informed the electorate. You come back as an MP, we ask you in the 5 years, why are our roads like this? So that's my point to Yes.
Okay. Yes,
so what I wanted to say that these two friends of mine from the NRM are taking us for a very quick, lousy ride, because they know that under the NRM regime, it is impossible for a citizen, for a voter to be informed, because they are the ones who are experts at bribing voters, beating members of the opposition. A member of the opposition is not even allowed to hold a rally. So it beats my understanding. If he comes here and says, you see the roads, the hospitals, yet if I can ask each of them if they have children,
These are young men. None of them has.
Do you have a child? Do you have children?
No, they.
The ones I take care of.
You have children?
Yes.
Yeah. So if I ask him, how many of those
You wish.
have been delivered in a public health facility like Mbara Regional Fara here? How many?
But I can assure you.
He's a member of government.
But I
Yes,
can
of
assure you,
course
I can
know.
attest that the referral hospital and the health center at White House in Mbarara has very good service delivery. I can assure you,
Yes.
the women there are giving birth in a very conducive environment, and the facilities are available. They may not be perfect.
Yes, yes.
But
I'm just asking.
That's what I said.
I'm
The
just
services
asking
might
the
not be the best,
Yes.
but
They
at
are
least
there.
they are reasonable.
Yes.
No. I asked a very simple question. How many? How many of your children have been
The majority
delivered
of
from there?
people in Western Uganda have their children delivered at Barra Referral Hospital.
Is that
one?
based on research?
That one I can tell you.
I'm not asking him as a member of the NRM as well as him. And the reason they will not say that one or two is because they fear there. Just like President Seven said that I cannot expose my daughter to a Ugandan doctor. So I have to have a presidential jet for her and take her to Germany. That's why actually most of the people who have died in Uganda, most of the high-ranking government officers who have died here, from Pecos from to
Eri
Rokodo,
Tumwine.
Eri Tumwine, Justice Kakuru.
We now know Keith Mwakanizi.
Have all died from the diaspora, from outside Uganda. Why? Because they fear to access our own medical facilities because there is nothing. The hospitals you are talking about are understaffed. The medicines are not there. The best you can get is a Panadol. You can't even get. The situation is terrible.
Okay.
The situation is terrible. So, and also even in schools, children are studying in shifts. So the only solution for us, because I know in 2026 both of them are going to vote for the NRM. But the solution for us as people of Uganda is to remove Museveni and his corrupt NRM regime, including his son.
Kugenja can't be trusted. He came to the voters and we chased him.
Yes,
And also he can't be trusted.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, comrade.
Thank you so much, comrade and comrade friends, for your submissions. I want to say that Uganda as a country, from the callers, they have showed that it is necessary to expose the rot in the country through social media, of which I say partly it is necessary, but somehow, somewhere it is also dangerous, because
How dangerous is it?
we are not looking at the economic part of it, because much of our money here in Uganda come from the tourism sector. And the tourism sector is highly supported by people abroad. So wherever they see such posts on media that you
So what should Ugandans do?
An infrastructure is a big enabler of tourism.
Yes.
Tourists need to find
Now,
roads.
I am coming to a recommendation after my comment.
Please.
That tourism is highly supporting the GDP of our country, and on that very note, I personally, this is a personal opinion, for the sustainability of our country, I don't think it is good to expose, yes, our country to such an extent. You saw what happened to when Bob Wine had started of exposing our country on media with the bad image. You saw how the donors had started
But what
fearing
stops
to bring
you?
the money.
What stops you and your government to just do the right thing?
Then
Where Bobby Wine will not have to expose you of anything.
Secondly,
How
Mr.
do you answer
Banyaji,
that?
Government has brought what we call parish development model. I want to give you the pillars. I want to tell you
Our time
among
is
the pillars,
spent.
there is a pillar that involves infrastructure, and in that pillar of infrastructure, that's where the roads are captured. Even these schools, so we can embrace it and help the government.
You see how you struggled.
Some who have had the opinions of Team MK. Oppressors of the freedom of expression. Now, in his government, you rather keep quiet about the gross human rights violations and attract foreign exchange. And actually, up till now, we still demand answers from your MK on the person who tortured Kakwenza. So until you address those small issues, because you call them small, now this issue of foreign exchange, tourism does not ride over and above human rights.
Okay.
We're also entitled as Ugandans.
Thank you, Councilman J.
I have a funny friend of mine. He said maybe we should leverage on this and do pothole tourism. People come from outside and they do tourism and they tour our potholes.
All right, thank you so much, Johanna Remy Nwajira, for listening, and thank you, Levis Mkamat Kwase, for listening, and all of you. My punchline this week is why wouldn't it be so honorable of our members in cabinet who have been suspected of misappropriating government resources to simply step down? What is wrong with why would Nandutu be incarcerated as a minister of Karamoja? Why don't they just step aside?
Stepping aside is not enough. We want them to be held criminally responsible.
All
and
right.
Of course, even their supervisor, their president, must also resign. And you see, I want to end. Yes, because if you do not supervise and the government resources go down, then
how will President Museveni resign?
Yes.
Already the vice president is implicated.
Yes.
Uwanja is an extremist.
Let's meet next Saturday on the big set. My name is Wes Gavanaji.
I want to conclude by defining the word politics. The science of managing people to improve their quality of life.
All right. Thank you, Musat Kwatanuse. Thank you, Council Bwenje Dos Didi. Thank you, Bruce Owakunda. Thank you, all the listeners and those that contributed to our topic of discussion this morning. My name is Wes Gavanyaji. We have news at the top of the hour. Keep it locked for our continued programming. Good morning.
You are having the grandest time with the Rands, and there's a knock on the door.